We want to start off with a reminder that we are not doctors. Before you make any changes or try something new, always consult with your doctor and medical team first. Chronic illness can vary from patient to patient, so it's always best to consult with your own doctor for what is best for you.
Welcome back to I Be Determined. I'm your host, Mason Harvey. I speak from the role of a patient, and I have Crohn's disease.
And I'm your other co-host. I'm Michelle Harvey. I'm Mason's mom, and I speak in the role of a caregiver. And today is finally our big reveal and announcement of the project we've been working on. So I'll let you tell them
about what it is. To start off the episode, you probably should have said, I'm an illustrator. And you should have said that.
Yeah, I mean, we're both authors.
Yeah, we're both authors.
Some of you know that we have published
this book,
Lovely
Reggie, and you've seen the cutout of him if you watch YouTube. Hello.
So Not Your Average Slice of Pizza, and that was in like 2022, so almost 4 years ago.
Crazy how long ago that was.
Yeah,
I feel like it was that far.
And I think some people might have thought that was going to be it. Like, all right, you did your thing, you told Mason's story. And so some people would ask, is there going to be another story? And we would always be like, I don't know. And because the main thing with this isn't just like,
it's not a book you just write up and say, oh, here's a book that I wrote for kids to, that's obviously what it is. But the thing is, it's all about myself, too. It's my personal story.
Yes.
And so when you're writing about the things that you've actually experienced and you just wrote a book that goes through all of that, you need more stuff to talk about. So it's going to take however many years that's going to be so you have enough content to write about and draw about. And so it takes a lot of time when you're doing it from the, this is a real life perspective. Instead of this is just a book.
And we've had ideas, different things we want to do, but it's like Mason said, the content kind of creates a story that tells itself. And so the first book was a perspective of kind of a brief description of his life before his diagnosis, and then going through the scary process of being diagnosed and the reality of accepting that diagnosis. And but doing it in a way that is lighthearted and fun, and telling it through a piece of pizza, because he really missed pizza when he was in the hospital. And
it was the first thing I actually drew too.
Yeah, he drew an amazing piece of pizza, and so that inspired
next book, the amazing piece of pizza.
I know. Well, it is not your average slice of pizza, so it is amazing. We had that story, and the next one, it was kind of decided, like, in my opinion, I want to do something that focused more on the mental health aspect of his journey and how that looked. I mean, we could keep talking about, Reggie going to the hospital every 2 weeks and Reggie getting and that is,
we could do that.
That is true. Yeah. But it was more of like bigger picture, how, what did this disease kind of bring to the table? What else did it involve besides the physical aspects? And so mental health was something that was important, but not being done in a way that is too clinical again, right? Like, that was the whole point of writing the first book.
Yeah, this is the whole point of it,
So on this book, the first one, we used Pixar to, like, their
storyboard,
the Pixar formula for storyboarding. And Mason had taken a class, and so that kind of was like an organic way that it created itself. And so the second book, we wanted it to follow, like, it needed to still be like similar format. It needed to be apparent that this was part of a series, not just like all this,
here's another book.
Here's another book. It's kind of not making sense. Yeah. So I brought back the Pixar storyboard method. And yes, exactly. It's amazing how simple it is, but it's amazing how helpful it is. And
books are just like, this.
Yeah.
This.
Or there's the plot is loose. There's, or there's it just, the Pixar way really narrows it down and makes you focus and answer questions to tell the story. And so we kind of had the title, like, okay, we know it had to be something about food because we wanted to keep that theme. And then it was like, okay, well, what if Reggie, what if we brought in the food pyramid and all these different friends from different parts of the food pyramid, that Reggie had met. And so the story was more about who he met after the diagnosis. So,
because that's actually what happened.
Right. That was the second part of the journey. And that was the part of the mental health, the support, the things that Mason himself did. So everything in the book is, what Reggie is doing is, again, what Mason lived and what he did. I'll let you introduce
the next book.
The next book
is how everything was from the characters that you met after the hospital. It shows how much connections and friends you can make. Like Rolf Benirschka and then Rick. And all there's all
Mark
these
McKenna.
great Mark McKenna. Yes.
All different therapeutic companies.
Those are really cool too. But there's so many connections I wouldn't have if it wasn't for Crohn's disease. And so when I was first diagnosed, Rolf Benirschka, we were at one of the galas, and he said, this disease is a gift. And I was sitting in the crowd thinking, this man is insane. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Like, it's not a gift, it's a curse.
But
what?
4 years later, I started looking and seeing all the connections I made, which is what this book does. There's a lot of connections, and you realize it is a gift, but it takes a long time to get there. But if you look at the positives, it is a gift, because there's so many things I wouldn't have done, like speak at these biologic companies, have all these friends and connections, and so there's a lot to be thankful for. So,
and I think, and just to be clear, we're taking that from the perspective of, this isn't like I wish I didn't have this disease.
No.
The reality is he does have it.
Yes.
That's not going to change.
Silver lining. You gotta look for the positives where you can find them. I should be like, oh man, I have this disease. This is awful. Which, sure, you can be like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is, and it's fair. It is
Yeah.
fair to have those feelings.
But you can also think, would I ever have met Rolf Benirschka or these bioscience companies or Mark McKenna or gone to all these amazing places if it wasn't for it? And that's what you also have to take into account for and think positively, right? Because that's what's going to keep you going. And present our newest book, Not Your Average Food Pyramid.
Yes.
And so there's a lot more characters and a lot more illustration in this book. But I got it done.
And also interesting, so this is the hardback, right? And something that we didn't do with the first book that we wanted to do with this one is we created a paperback.
And so it's more affordable. So if a hospital or someone wants just a cheaper alternative, there's this too. So it's more.
That was always our goal, is to because these are very expensive for us to print. This is not like a money maker for us. And so our goal was to get the costs as low so we can get the book to as many people that need it or want to read it. Yeah, we even have we're having more made, but we even have stickers. So some
I love stickers.
So yeah, hold that up really quick because you're gonna see a lot of the characters. So anyway, so we'll kind of start with obviously you're gonna see in the pyramid. It's just like a regular food pyramid. The kind of the inspiration for one of the characters and in this story, it kind of came from Mason's own experience with therapy, and his therapist Jeannie.
She's the most amazing therapist you could ever have.
Yeah, so sweet.
The sweetest person, she was like a grandma.
Yeah, and she got Mason to open up at a time where he didn't want therapy. And I mean,
because I have my parents, I have friends, why would I need it?
Yeah, he was like, I don't, and when he was going through, I have to say, he had so many appointments.
Yes, there were so many appointments, and to think of a therapist is just like another appointment.
Like, I don't want one more thing. And so we happened to find Jeannie, and she didn't make it, I think for you, didn't feel like therapy.
I guess you could say she's not your average therapist.
Right. And that's kind of she's a big part of this story and how it got told.
Because a lot of the therapists in the hospital, they were extremely clinical.
Right.
That
they're bad at their job.
But for me, it was just more, it wasn't as warm and comforting. So they walk in with, a little clipboard and they're asking these questions and it's like, okay. And then they do their thing and they leave and it's like, okay. But this therapist, Jeannie, was... she had her very own personality. She was hilarious.
Yeah, she was. And I was fortunate enough she'd have me sit in too, as long as Mason was comfortable, as Mason's comfort levels there, and just encourage him to talk to her, because it is important for kids to have somebody that they can open up to. They may think they're, like, we're good, we've got all this, but at some point they need that extra support from a professional. So we had Jeannie. Mason went to her about 4.5 years. And at that point, she was pretty much like, just come visit me. Say hi if you need anything. Mason was doing so well.
And
And
she could, share stories and stuff too. So
yeah.
like, oh, what did you do? I went on
So
a trip, and, you know.
she really helped him. And she would fight for him to even to skip grades. She was one of the big supporters and advocates for him
Not
doing
for
that.
me to remain back in a grade, but to be able to push forward
Yeah.
and get done with high school faster. And
Yeah, she was
stay
great.
strong.
And she ended up passing away,
Mhm.
which was really, it was tough.
It was.
And
It came out of nowhere.
yeah, it was fast. She let us know. And we were able to go to her memorial service. And so there was that.
Very beautiful.
So this book is dedicated to Jeannie, and she has the role of Mrs. Ginger in the book, Mason's therapist, or I should say Reggie's therapist.
Reggie's therapist, yes.
And so yeah, and this book is also dedicated to his doctor, Dr. Bauman, who
The doctor who brought some of the hardest news,
yes,
but was able to help me get through that. I remember when I was in the hospital, and it was a harder day.
and you'd already met. Like, I want to just point this out. You'd already met like so many doctors at this.
20 doctors.
It
Definitely.
felt there was a lot of doctors you had met, so you knew a lot of personalities. So this wasn't like the first doctor that walked in.
No,
she was one of the last doctors that actually was on duty that day and came in. Yeah.
And so I asked, so how long do I have to stay on these biologics till I'm in remission? And she said, you have to stay on them forever. You don't have to get, you don't, okay, you
when
don't
you're
have
in
to,
remission,
you don't get off of
you
them.
don't
It's not
come
a
off.
cure. You know, you have to take them forever. And so I started crying. You know, that was a very hard thing to hear, knowing that because at the time I was getting infusions and stuff, these 4 hour long, and their blood draws and stuff, all that crazy stuff. And so the idea of getting that for the rest of my life just seemed impossible. But she got down on her knees, so she was on eye level with me, and she explained how everything worked, and she handled the situation very well, and she was very, very comforting.
Yeah.
And she's a fighter. Insurance fears her.
Right. We'd actually already received a referral to a different GI doctor at Rady's. And we ended up talking to her because he was still in hospital when that happened, but it was for follow-ups afterwards. Yeah. And so he asked her if he could just have her be his doctor. And one of the good news, things we'd heard about her was she was an IBD specialist, which is extremely important. She knew her stuff. It was, all GIs, the gastroenterologists are incredibly, intelligent, well qualified doctors. But
when there's a specialist
having a specialist and what Mason's diagnosis was
that's what you want.
Extremely comforting. And we really liked her. And I think that, she's the one who got Mason into remission. And I don't know what it would have happened if she hadn't tried the dual biologic. I don't know. So anyways.
She's patient. She doesn't just say, well, if she needs to, she will have something done. But if there's, she doesn't go straight to the last decision, we need steroids, we need a surgery, it's like, okay, well, let's see how this goes. You can try this and we'll see how this works. And if this doesn't work, we're going to have to do this. But in the meantime, so she handles things very, very well.
She's very good at weighing the different risks and also weighing Mason's physical health and his mental health. And that was something that was really interesting to me because I hadn't considered that a doctor, I thought, when this was all going down and Mason was first diagnosed, I thought maybe a doctor was like, this is what you have to do. This is it. But it was like, this is what I recommend you should do. And then she would explain to Mason why and rationalize it with him. So it wasn't like, you just need to have scopes. How she balances the physical health and the mental health was another reason why this book is dedicated to her, because that's what this book follows. And so
therapy is about good doctors.
Right. And so it's basically the story is going to take you through kind of like what Jeannie, his therapist, did. In the beginning, she used to have Mason write affirmations.
Yes.
She had you get a journal. This is not the same because we're not Jeannie, we're not therapists. So we kind of did it in our own way of what Mrs. Ginger in the book did for Reggie. And so she got him a journal, and then she gets him like a copy of the food pyramid. And the idea is that there's different food groups in this food pyramid
that are necessary,
that make a great support
make
system.
a well-rounded friendship.
Right. And so the goal is to fill the pyramid. Not everyone's going to have a full pyramid. Some people have different levels, but what's important is you find different friendships, different support from different people. And so that's kind of what this is about. One of my favorite lessons, because we've talked about this, there's a lot of lessons in the book that were important to us. One of the most to me was that the importance of becoming friends or knowing people who are different than you, and not just finding friendships that are identical to what you like, what you do, but meeting people and being open to people who have different lives, different, whatever it might be.
Not everybody in this book is a pizza.
So yeah, so that's what's kind of cool is different is realizing that we can have those friendships and that support system. And
we can have friends.
Right. It's going to look different for everybody. And so that was one of the important things of this. And
cherish your friendships is another one, to look back and be thankful for those friendships and
right.
always be fair.
And to recognize that diagnosis for a disease is never a great thing. Like Mason said, so it's not like, obviously we can't change it. And what we would change is that there's a cure,
That's what we would change.
And so we wish there was. Wish, right? That's a big word, but that's not the case right now. And so what you try to focus on, at least what we've really tried to focus on and get Mason to see, is the people that have surrounded him and the people he's met, what his life looks like. And none of this is luck. It's Mason putting himself out there and also doing good things for others and raising awareness and meeting people along the way. And so it kind of encourages you, I hope, to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and maybe realize, the disease doesn't make you a victim. It can make you an advocate. Yeah. And I think that's really important too.
Yeah, because the thing is, what I know everybody I know right now, if I didn't speak that first gala, and then speak at the next one, and then speak at the next place, and then the bioscience companies, if I just stayed at home and went to the hospital, got biologics, a speech would be interesting, but I don't really feel like it. You could do that.
Yeah.
But
and
you're
that's
not
okay.
gonna gain the same connections. But I did that, just to do it. And out of that came so many connections and friendships and possibilities. Yeah. It was amazing.
It changed I think it changed the trajectory of the disease, the future for you, maybe what you were interested in becoming, all those things. And so, so this book, the first story is special to us for other reasons. This one is special to us in its own right for the story it tells of, the people that Reggie has met. And, these are people, anybody can read this book and see their own food pyramid in it. You don't have to, know the same people that Reggie knew, but it hopefully gets you to look and become, kind of introspective into your own life and look and say, okay, how has this disease, what has it brought me instead of what has it taken from me? And so I think that is really important. And so we're going to talk about a little bit of the process into writing this.
Yeah, really quick.
Illustrating it.
How long did the first book take?
Okay, so Mason took his Pixar class, so we had all that material. So I think that class was 6 weeks, maybe.
6 weeks.
And then after that, about 6 weeks to do the book, because you had a lot of the illustrations were done in the Pixar class. The outline was done. The story was kind of told. It just had to be, so.
In total, about 2 months and a half.
Yeah, like over a summer, less than a summer. And it was done before Mason went back to school. And so this book.
Yeah, that's how long this one took.
Yes, and circumstances were different. So I think Mason as the illustrator, Mason had an important job of continuing Reggie.
Yeah.
But because our books are real, Reggie doesn't stay the same age necessarily in this book. Because he's done all these new things, he's not going to be the same age as he was in the other book, just like Mason. So the decisions had to be made. I think it was a little challenging because Mason wanted to stay true to the original book.
Because there's something about illustration books where you read the first book and you're like, oh yeah, this is great.
And you love everything about it.
You love everything about it. And you get connected to that character and that style. You read the second book and the character changes and it's still okay. But it's like, this isn't the character that I knew.
It feels foreign.
It doesn't feel comfortable anymore. And so I really wanted to try to keep that same feel, that same character, the same feeling with it,
Yeah.
which is really hard to do. On top of the fact that with this book, he's older, so he's going to be drawing differently. And also, in the first book, one thing that personally bothered me in Aftermath was that some of the eyes are like one is one shape and the other one's a little bit different.
Right.
And I mean, that's okay. It's a first book, you know, and that's what makes it special.
Right.
But in this book, I really wanted to try to make it more clean and streamlined. And so it's a little bit different, but I was really trying to keep the same feeling. And it's definitely going to be a little bit different.
Right.
But it still has the same feeling and everything.
Right. Because it was important to show
Oh.
it was important to show like Reggie looks a little different, but he's still going through the same things kind of on the inside. And so this disease is sometimes an invisible disease. And so you can look better from the outside, you can look healthier, and you might be healthier, but you're still dealing with a disease. And so that was kind of like, you know, okay, so Reggie looks a little healthier in this one. There's a few little aspects with that. And I think so we also made the decision, like, there's no AI.
No.
This is everything drawn in there is except for where we put our pictures in the backgrounds, because we still do that.
AI.
We mix the real life with the fake story, because ultimately what you find out at the end of the book, which if you've read the first one, is that the story is being told by Mason, and he's drawing these characters to tell his story. And so Mason's a little older now, so it's like, do I draw it like when I was 11 or 12, or do I draw it now as a 16-year-old? So but you don't want it to look, you want to still stay true to it. So Mason did, I think, a really good job, but I think that intimidated him a little bit at first. And so
there's so many characters.
Yeah.
The thing I want to say is also AI is great in terms of how it helps with the biologics and stuff, but AI art, I found art without a heart is not great. But also one thing that took a long time with this book was I really wanted it to keep the same feeling, and in doing that while changing character designs a little bit, all of the colors in this book from the characters that are in the original book are the same colors. The colors for Reggie, the mouth, the tongue, the hands, and the crust, and the cheese, I found the same exact pencils that I used on the first book and used them on this. And there's a lot of other ones. And also the title itself, I redrew, but using the same exact...
So that was...
The one's a little bit different, but that's because there's a different word in it.
Yeah.
But all the colors are basically the same exact pencils that I use in the first book.
That was the most important part, because, the story itself, obviously the writing tells the story, but you first see, the story is first told with what you see, which is the picture. And so if you don't have a picture, like when you flip to a page that isn't accurately telling the story in that picture, kids aren't gonna, they're going to lose interest. And we wanted to make sure that, but at the same time, it's like, you can have AI draw like adorable Pixar looking Disney characters.
Yeah, draw me a 3D looking Pixar character.
Right. Like, I don't want to say there's anything wrong with that either. It's not our style for the book. It's not what we were going for.
Feel right.
No, this was Mason's story. And this was just like the drawings of the first one. I think that is what makes this story so unique.
One thing that I've noticed that I wanted this book to have more character and feeling. Something AI has a lot of trouble doing is putting... I mean, it can put expression on the face, but it doesn't have the same feeling. It feels more blank, like it can smile, but the eyes don't carry the same energy. And
right.
If you're looking for an AI character or an AI drawing, if you don't know if it's AI, look at the eyes. If there's two characters on a page, if they're supposed to be looking at each other, that's how you usually can tell.
And I think what is really cool is in each of these, drawings in this book, you'll know, like, Mason, each one thought went into it. He did each line, each thing that was colored in here, he did. And those decisions were made by him, not a computer. He made the decisions to draw things a certain way, or to maybe not look as perfect, or maybe try to make it a little better.
Some are decided to draw free-handed, and some are decided to draw with a ruler to keep the lines straight.
Right.
And, there's a lot of
his call.
Decisions.
It was his call. So with this book, it's Mason telling the story. I'm writing it. And so one of the reasons we had to make this decision is we started this book in August of 2025. It is now May, very end of May of 2026. And so it started with, the same Pixar formula. We did the outline first, thought of the characters, and, it was a process to build this because you come from there's nothing, and then you suddenly have this story, and then you're trying to make it relate and make it fun and lighthearted, but also serious, because kids can handle both things. I think that kids are very intelligent. They can handle bigger words. They can handle concepts.
They need to learn it.
Yes, and I think it's a great book where a parent can read and maybe define, what this word means, or learn together. So I think that is important to not,
doesn't know the word, you can look it up.
Yeah,
on a dictionary.
We have our phones. We can look that up.
Hey, you can ask AI to read it.
But I don't like to think that kids dumb it down, because I think kids are pretty smart. It is just a way to tell a story that is true to Mason, but also borders that line of fiction and nonfiction. You kind of goes between those two. I came up with ended up writing the story before we had the pictures. And where the last time it was kind of like the pictures, the storyboard came first.
Yeah.
And then kind of you'd storyboard it and write it kind of same time. This time he had his first full semester of college, and he was 15 units, 16 units.
This is really hard.
And so it was okay, the decision was made to not put too much stress onto Mason. He would be part of the storytelling, but I would do the writing. And this was going to be more writing heavy. And so that was also a challenge, because it's okay, I didn't want it to be too wordy, but I didn't want to leave out things either. Yeah. And
that's really hard, because when you're writing about your life.
So we would go back and forth. That part got done, and then it was up to Mason, to start drawing. And the process that he would do, that we figured out that would work, is this time. So in the original book, he drew the characters all together, like this Reggie here.
Yeah.
We have this Reggie. This was all together. And so the idea was, what if we drew
in the original book, when you drew one of these characters, you'd have to redraw it again.
Yes.
Creating in the book, there's some times when Reggie's proportions are completely
right. It suddenly changes. Yeah.
Why did he turn from this to this?
Yeah. Which is part of the charm of the book.
He was.
But for sake of Mason's sanity this time, because he had so many, so many characters this time.
It was more characters now than the amount of drawings I had to do for this.
How can we do this? He would draw basically the background, the shape,
the color, the shape, and then on top of that, you would have another layer where you'd have a light board, put it under that piece of paper, and then put that piece of paper over that, tape it so it doesn't move, and then you draw the eyes on top of that, and then the mouth, and then the arms and legs. That way you can have the same shape, and it doesn't change.
And you can also this is the big reason why we did it too. You can edit it.
Yeah.
Because before, when he drew Reggie and he drew the eyes and the mouth and everything's colored, and if something doesn't look right,
it's
he's man, I have to redraw the whole thing.
And it looks like that.
Right. And so this way, if he did the face and he's the eyes don't look, this isn't giving me what I like, he could just redraw the face.
Yeah.
And then we would just layer it, go into our Photoshop program, and we would layer the face onto the background. So he could get the body basically exactly how he wanted, and get the facial expression exactly how he wanted.
And there's not going to be any. Oh yeah. Also, I was wearing this fancy little glove on my hand that covers this hand, because my hands get sweaty when I write, which when I'm drawing with pencil can be very annoying, because it drags the lead across the paper and creates these annoying smears.
I found a glove, an artist glove, so he could.
And so now it's the drawings are much cleaner and crisp and smoother, and so that's nice. You don't have to worry about any smudges in this spot.
Yeah. And I would clean it up in Photoshop, just like we did in the first one. We did clean that up. But it was a better way, where if he was unhappy with how something turned out, it's not like you have to scratch the whole thing or go into,
give me the taste back. I'll redraw it, and it'll.
So for each character, I think he did that. And
they have multiple faces.
Yeah.
So I say another fun challenge was, especially for you, is because we're in the food group, right? Well, we're in the food pyramid, and so the food has to make sense in what level it's in at a real food pyramid. And you have to think of what food fits for that person to be in this food category.
Yes.
And on top of that, you have to think of, does the food's name sound like the person's name? Because my doctor, which is an olive in this book, it also was in the first book. Cool cool.
And
That's
so
a
so
part of
yeah,
the
so he'd
schedule.
already drawn her that way, and so we're like, so she
Mhm.
has to stay an Olive, and so we're like, she's Dr. B, and so
Uh-huh.
what kind of olive
Starts with a
starts with a
B.
Barnea
Yeah,
olive?
Barney Olive. And so you have to find all these names that match the names of the actual characters whilst the food fitting into the right category of the food pyramid.
Yeah.
And so that itself was a fun puzzle.
Some of the stuff we have a lot of fun little like Easter eggs too
There's a
that
lot
we
of Easter
worked
eggs in
on
it.
in this, and I think one of them is like a nod to, hopefully you guys find it, is to Elf, one of his favorite Christmas movies, and so
Just
we.
fit.
Yeah, so we have something in there. There's a couple different ones, and I'm hoping people find them because they were fun to create. And,
Mhm.
we did like little Easter eggs for each person too that they'll probably recognize. Someone else might not, but they're still going to enjoy it. So
Yep.
that was the important part too, was making this where someone could read this, know nothing about Mason's story, know nothing about these people, and still enjoy it. That was
Mhm.
the key goal here too. You're trying to write it like Mason's story, but you don't want to make it like where a kid's reading it like,
Like,
I can't relate to
what does
any.
this mean?
Yeah. And so we wanted the book to tell his story, talk about the real life people,
Yeah.
but make it relatable in a way where you don't have to have this disease. You don't even have to have a disease at all,
Mm-mm.
but you can read this story and it's a story in itself. And that's it. I think it pulls it off. I think we did exactly, that was the most exciting part, is when you start to go, we did it. You connected this dot and this dot and this dot, and then all of a sudden you're like, the full picture is there. I'm tired of not being able to say anything to anybody. It has been so hard to keep it a secret since August.
Because you're working on, you're like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Drawing.
Yeah. And it was like, we couldn't exactly tell people, like, oh, you guys are busy. Yeah. Because we still have other work and school. And so then you're doing this book. And I just wanted the book to be done because
A fun and a surprise.
yeah, yeah. And so we didn't really tell anybody anything because the whole time we wanted an out. So if it didn't happen, we could just say to ourselves, we're not doing this, and nobody would know any better, and they wouldn't have been disappointed or sad or whatever. And then as we start almost getting done, we told the first just a few close people, like, we're working on something. And then we included some pictures of people in the back, just like we did in the original Not Your Average Slice of Pizza book, where we take some of the pictures from the story, and at the end we put them with a real life picture to show what
Who
really
was who.
happened and who was who. And so I'm going, I have to get permission if we're going to do this. And
You can't just put somebody's picture in the
yeah.
book. Hey, you're in there, surprise. And
Yeah, even like the San Diego Blood Bank, they are in here, and we used a real picture, and they were kind enough. They had to get authorization from every single person in the picture to sign off to agree to be in the book. And so so I didn't want to tell, they still don't know this is coming right now as of when we're filming this. We're going to make the announcement this week. One of the reasons why we've had to hold off is I'm going to explain really quick,
oh yeah,
the
this is
printing
fun.
process. What we decided to do, like I said, we decided to do a paperback and a hardback, the hardcover version of the story. That means $2. So most of you might think, oh, you just turn in, like, you go to the publisher and they're like, yeah, we'll just make this one this way and this one this way.
It's a soft
No.
button. Well, there's a little button. There's a little switch that you click.
Yeah.
Because
No.
surely, in a time like this, they've made it that easy now.
And so where we publish, so Amazon KDP is an excellent, they are a great publisher. They've done a few of our other books that are behind us as well.
Yeah.
I really liked their quality of their paperbacks. And so I knew I wanted to use Amazon KDP to do the paperback. Unfortunately, they don't do hardcover yet. So we went with our original Ingram Spark to do the hardcover, just like the original.
This one.
Yes. So, two different publishers. And so they don't operate on the same timelines. I can tell you that for sure. And I'm guessing it's because the hardback is a little more difficult to, print, wrap. There's more that goes into the hardcover books. It's been almost a month, and we still haven't received the actual proofs on the hardcover.
Yeah.
And
in fact, she ordered one, and
so here's what I did with the paperback. When I turned that one in, they have to send you a proof. You look it over, and then they end up publishing it, and they send you a physical proof.
Yeah.
Amazon did that within like 4 days. I could see the
Good
first
job,
proof.
Amazon. We're so proud of you.
I received that on Mother's Day, so that was exciting.
Surprise, yeah.
And so you got to look it over. And so based on the revisions I made in that book, I did the same to the hardcover, even though I had not seen the hardcover but one yet. And I knew that would be weeks before I could see that one. When you publish with Ingram Spark, it takes about 3 weeks to receive a copy.
Yay.
Being impatient because we've waited forever and it's like, we just want to get these out. I was like, okay, I took the changes I did from the paperback, put it onto the hardcover. Then I had the bright idea, I'm going to order, they're both on Amazon, even though I had not received the hardcover yet. So I ordered the hardcover off Amazon like one of you guys would do. I got it within like 4
days. Got here faster than the one that they're supposed to ship to us.
Right, than my proof.
Over.
So this one
How
I got
is that possible?
before the proof. And this is, and so unfortunately, just like, and the reason why you get a proof is there's a misprint or there's something that, and the one area that on a hardcover that was not on the paperback is the spine. And so on the...
It's like how I have problems with my spine. This book has a problem with its
spine.
It
does. So there's going to be a few copies. Some of you may be lucky enough to get one that have that misprint. The rest...
sell for millions.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not.
But so some are going to have that misprint and we're keeping it, we're going to hand them out to some friends and stuff like that. We've already submitted the process to get it changed and that is taking
another 5 months.
I know that takes forever. So we're still waiting on that. So hopefully when this podcast comes out, both are available on Amazon for you to purchase. You can also contact us. And if you're local, we can give you a discount. We can sign it, so we can make sure we can do what we can. If you aren't local and you want to order one and you have Amazon Prime, it's still a great deal because you don't have to pay for shipping. If you order one through us, you'll have to pay for shipping. We'll discount the book. So anyways, we're still working that out. But that's like the process. So we've been like just waiting for Ingram Spark to just get this, like a turtle versus a rabbit.
If it was like actually hard for them to make it, and yeah, I get that. But why does it take the proof longer to get here?
Then Amazon got it to me, and Amazon's not the printer.
I mean, I feel like if it's the proof, it needs to be here fast so we can look it over, right?
What seems like happens is they prioritize the online orders. But I wish what Ingram Spark would do, so many things they do well, but I wish they would prioritize the author in some ways. And,
but there's the creator of the book.
Yes, get them, do what you can, get them that proof faster so you can figure out mistakes early on, print the right things instead of having to resubmit, because if they had got me the proof, just like Amazon had, this would have been taken care of 2 weeks ago, instead of right now where we're on this process. And Amazon's fully up and running. The paperback's available. Definitely a little bit of a hang up there, but we knew kind of going into to expect that. That's why we kind of did the paperback too, because we're like, let's have another option. And both are premium color, do the best we can. So everything is like the highest level we can get for you guys.
It's quality pizza, guys.
Yes, the best pizza.
Yes.
So
finest in New York.
We hope that when this does come out, we'll put links. We'll put some links for you guys so you can order if you want, or you can contact us, comment, ask us how to order. We'll get in touch with you, let you know how to do it. Make sure you get a copy.
Proof.
Yeah, or if you want a proof,
if you want it, order one.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's just one small error.
Now
it's on the screen.
It's up to you to find it.
Yeah,
didn't show you.
I think you'll find it very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Like, already said it's on the spine.
Yeah.
I'm stupid for that.
No.
So
we found it very quickly.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was like, oh, it looks perfect. Flip through the whole book. Everything looks great. And then just like, look at this. I'm like, oh, gosh, dang it.
Well, that's going to have to change.
Yeah. So that'll be changed for probably when this comes out, when you guys can order it. That should be changed. If not, if it hasn't, you'll order it with the same misprint. I don't even know if they're actually allowing. I think they put a hold on it. Okay. So I think you can get the paperback.
You might have the rare opportunity to get a misprint back.
So now we are getting together, we're going to gift these to the people that were in the story. We're going to try to make sure they all get a copy and just, let other people too know. The important thing about this is the kind of support system that you can be, whether you're a caregiver, a parent, a friend, how important your role is too in helping somebody who is going through something, whether it's a diagnosis or a difficult life situation, how much of a difference you can make in their lives too. And so I hope it's not just viewed through the eyes of a patient, but it's viewed through the eyes of the caregiver or the friend or the family
member. You are
member.
Important.
And that's what I hope the message is in here too. Like, wow, I can be important in someone's journey. And so a lot of these people, that's what is pretty cool about this. We did not know before Mason's diagnosis.
And because of the diagnosis,
Now
we know them.
Yeah, and Mason's able to make a difference in other people's lives because these people he's met too.
Yes.
That's what
Which is so cool.
It's
a
an
never-ending gift.
Mm-hmm, it really is. It's exciting to finally be able to tell you guys about this. And so yeah, Not Your Average Food Pyramid is the second in the series. Probably people are gonna be like, are you doing a third one? Not right now.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
So it'll be, we have ideas. But again, it's Mason's story. It needs to be lived.
Story, right?
We have, we have some ideas.
Well,
and
like that one.
Yeah, and we'll, hopefully we can keep it up and do another one at some point. I don't know. We'll see. It also depends. Mason's getting older. It depends where, this is his story. And it depends on if he wants to keep telling it in this way or if he wants to say, hey, these 2 books were great. But it's exciting to have 2 books and not just like we were like a one-hit wonder and just did the one.
Was it ever a one-hit wonder though?
No. In our house it was.
Yeah, was it? Yeah.
For us personally, I didn't want to always be like, this is, Michelle and Mason Harvey, authors of this one book. And so now it's like authors of, Not Your Average series. And so now that's opened up that whole different world for these books. And so I think that's exciting. So so we have other things we'll be working on too now that this project is out of the way. We're going to be focused on the Karmatude clips and getting some more of those done. And that's going to be fun. And so that's important to us too. So we just had it was very busy for him with 2 semesters of college and trying to, get the book done, but in a way that didn't feel rushed and didn't feel like, hey, I just drew this character.
Hey, yo, I just drew this character, Mom. Here.
You didn't care. Here you go. Here it is.
There has to be heart in the drawing. You have to care about it, and you can't rush it.
Yeah. So that is that's our big announcement for today.
And now on to the episode where we're going to be talking about
that'll be in 2 weeks. We have to figure out our next episode, but let us know. Your thoughts if you're excited to read it. And again, if you want help ordering it to see your different options, besides Amazon, it is, if you look it up online, it's available on Walmart. It's available on a few other bookstores have it on there too. So it is available in other spots. We say Amazon just because a lot of people have Amazon Prime and I know it's free.
It's like the most common ordering.
Yeah. So there is that, but there are other avenues and we can help you with that. So let us know if you're interested. And
getting a book.
Yeah. In the meantime, you guys can follow us on Instagram at Team IB Determined and see the announcement hopefully in a couple days here.
Yay, they did it.
Finally.
Hype that post.
Finally. And so, cheer us on. Help us out. It's been a long process. So, cheer us on as we announce this. That'd be great. And you guys can also listen to us on any podcast station like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or Apple Podcasts. If you would like to watch and listen, we have YouTube for that.
You have YouTube, yes. And if you're on YouTube, there's also YouTube Podcasts, which I don't know why you're watching that. There's also Buzzsprout, which has a link to all the different podcasts. But if you are on YouTube, which if you are, you've seen the book picture, and you're probably like, wow, it looks so cool. But if you're just listening, you're like, oh man, I really want to see it. So you should go to YouTube. But if you're on YouTube, make sure you give us a like and subscribe. And if you want to be notified every time we post a new video, make sure to hit that bell icon. And remember to leave a comment. Let's see, what could they comment about today? How excited they are for the book.
Yeah, let us know.
What they think the misprint is.
Yeah, gosh.
I think the problem is...
It's so dumb, too. It's like the easiest thing to have caught, but it was hard to see. Because when you make the cover, the spine is so tiny. And so it's like, that didn't... you need to zoom. Lesson learned. Yeah. Zoom in.
Zoom in, guys. All right. So basically,
that's it.
Just
that's
excited.
Yeah.
Share positivity and spread positivity and be happy.
Yeah. Do good things, guys.
Yes, do good things.
Hopefully you're all well. And let us know, if you need some extra support, if you're going through something, comment too. And if we can help support you, we're happy to do that too. So... yeah. All right, guys. Well, have a great,
fantastic week.
Yeah, a great weekend.
Have a good week and
evening.
Week. Have a good college day. Have a good work day. Have a good
whatever it is that's going on in your life. Breakfast. Yeah, make it a good one.
Have a good reading day.
And we'll see you back here in 2 weeks.
Yes.
On the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you will stick around, tune in, and reach out to us with your own journeys. We are excited to give you an inside view of what it takes to be a caregiver and what it's like to be a patient.
And most of all, we hope you'll maybe be able to apply something you hear on here that might help you in your own life. Sometimes life changes, and it's all about how you handle the journey.